Man, it's cold in here. This drafty old house doesn't hold in the heat so well. Maybe if I play something it'll help take my mind off the temperature. Better do something soon. Let's see. No. 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 There should be a game where you vanquish winter, using its own cold-natured treachery against it. Huh. Kickle Cubicle is a puzzle adventure game by Irem, the same publisher that brought you such gems as Metal Storm, The Guardian Legend, and the R-Type series. The Wizard King has taken over the Fantasy Kingdom and hidden the 4 palaces away. To make matters worse, he trapped all the inhabitants in dream bags and created frigid islands made of ice to serve as their prisons. Kickle, with his special frost breath, is the kingdom's only hope. The inhabitants of the Fantasy Kingdom are a little odd. All manner of vegetables live in Gardenland. Hey there, tomato baby. Fruit lives in Fruitland, toys in Toyland, and cake in Cakeland. What? A cheeseburger? In what universe is a cheeseburger even remotely close to cake? The game is made up of 67 different islands, each containing 3 dream bags. Upon collecting all the bags, the island will collapse and the prisoners will be freed. This concept is simple in theory, but don't let that fool you, as the game is constantly adding new puzzle mechanics that demand quick thinking and problem-solving skills. Kickle can use his frost breath to freeze these little blue guys into ice blocks. The ice blocks can be kicked into the water to become an additional piece of the island that you can walk on. You can also use them to squish enemies. Some of the enemies, like this cool chicken, sup bruh, can kick the blocks as well, so watch out for that. Other enemies include spinning turtles and these pesky raccoons. You also have clowns that roll balls at you, knights who reflect your breath with their shields, and these snowmen that can't be frozen. The enemies will spawn from the red eggs, so even if you clear all the baddies on the screen, they'll be back. As I mentioned before, the difficulty ramps up gradually as new puzzle elements are introduced. However, this is done really well, as the game does a good job of getting you associated with certain mechanics before throwing new ones at you. Early on, the puzzles only require you to create a path to the dream bags by kicking the frozen enemies. Consider these the practice levels. After a little while, you'll start seeing springs that you need to use to get your ice blocks where you want them. Next, you'll encounter mallets that will spin when you kick a block at them, sending it in a different direction. There's also spikes that will break blocks should you kick one into them. These guns are relentless. You need to put something in front of them so the bullets won't get you. Later levels incorporate perplexing combinations of all the different hazards and mechanics and can make for some rough puzzles. There's even some levels where the resources provided to you are limited and need to be solved in one shot. If you make a mistake, you're basically going to have to kill yourself to start over. Trial and error is the key here, and with unlimited continues, you can keep trying again and again, and again, and again, until you solve each puzzle. If you get too frustrated and decide you want to come back to it later, you can always get a password from the game over screen. At the end of each land, you'll uncover one of the hidden palaces. In each palace, you'll have to defeat one of the Wizard King's minions. These guys aren't too complex compared to the rest of the game. You basically just need to allow them to throw their projectile of choice at you, and it'll break into smaller versions of itself that you can kick back at them. After a few hits, you'll defeat them and save one of the princesses of the Fantasy Kingdom. I really have a hard time understanding how these beauties fit in among the rest of the odd creatures that live here. The music is pretty good for what it is. There's one track that plays through all the levels, but I never really found it getting on my nerves. There's separate themes for the boss fights and the palace transitions, and these are done well enough for what they are. The graphics are colorful, though sometimes basic, but with an action puzzler like this, as long as you can tell what everything is, it's more than sufficient. When you finally get to the Wizard King and defeat him, the youngest princess, Mira, is saved, and also the king apparently. Not sure what the mom would have to look like to pair up with this guy to make these girls, but whatever. Being extremely grateful of your heroism, Mira gives you a little kissy kiss. You even get to marry her and become a prince. That's pretty cool. At this point you think the game is over, but oh no. Now you get to try the special game. Yay! These levels are the toughest of the tough, and will really test your patience. Only the most determined players need apply here. Kickle Cubicle is a great inclusion to the NES library, and one that is often overlooked. I have fond memories of this game stemming all the way back from when I was a kid, and I still feel that this is one of the better games of this genre. Going for around $15 currently, this one's a no-brainer and should definitely be in your collection.